sort of break it down like this.
Small gang hang. What's going on? How we doing? It's just a small romantic gang hang. My name's Matt Baum. I got Mr. Joe Patrick across me. Say hey, Joe.
Hey, it's me.
What's happening? And like, guys, introduce yourselves. Who else is here? Let's go. There's only like 5 of us. Let's do it.
I'm here, Jeff.
Jeff's here. Damon, say hi to the kids.
Damon's here. Hello, children.
Brian and I were just screaming about how insane Bill Sienkiewicz is and how many people he probably like literally pulled into the art world because maybe they couldn't draw like Gene Colan or Steve Ditko, but they looked at Bill Sienkiewicz and went, "Oh man, that guy's a spaz. I might be able to do that." You know?
Yeah, it's like the Alex Ross craze all over again. I love this cover. It's supposed to, his artwork. For
I love Alex Ross, but Alex Ross does a totally different thing. Like Alex Ross does gigantic paintings, absolutely, and when you see them, they're stunning. I've seen a couple of those live as well, but it's not like literally they had to air gap this painting because it's everything he did stands 6 inches off of the canvas. Crazy, you know. It's amazing. Don't get me wrong.
I'm pretty sure it was this podcast that taught me that his name isn't Sienkiewicz.
Oh yeah, I always had a. Yeah.
I used to pronounce it Sienkiewicz. Yeah.
See, now in the Midwest, we grew up with a bunch of Polish people, so we learned how to say that stuff. So you know.
I remember. I think there was I distinctly remember there was an installment of Bullpen Bulletins in the 80s that had phonetic spellings of a lot of difficult to pronounce creator names. And that's where I learned that it's pronounced Sienkiewicz.
There was an interview with Stan Lee years ago, and I want to say it was like on Entertainment Tonight or something like that. But it was like one of the bigger like shows. And they were talking about, Stan, you're the only guy in the Marvel bullpen with like a Hollywood name. What's up with that? You're Stan Lee. And he's like, well, my real name is Stan Leibowitz. I changed it to sound more like Hollywood. I don't want to break your heart, but everyone in Hollywood changes their name.
Lieber. His last name was Lieber. Stanley
sorry,
Martin Lieber. Yeah. But yeah, Stan Lee. That's a great pen name. Like
Sure.
Yeah, it rolls off the
fault
tongue.
him.
Yeah.
Right.
Also,
And
really
the dude's a household name now.
Yeah, Sienkiewicz is a hockey
really
last name that barely fits on the jersey. You know, I love it.
There you go. I love those hockey jerseys with the obscenely long names.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's great. When all the Finnish guys show up and they're like, Niederländer Hoser Ninder.
You know, we've had a pretty big influx of different people from different diverse countries and locations and names. And, you know, there's a lot of like South Asian, brilliant letterers these days.
Yeah.
And I really wish they would do phonetic spellings and felicitations and things like that at some point, or like a press release.
Oh yeah,
you know,
that'd
like
be great. Yeah.
you know, like do one when you're announcing a book,
Right.
announce the whole team with a phonetic thing, because then you can search it forever.
Right.
You know?
For
And
us dumb Americans. Teach us how to say
Especially
it
a
right,
press
please.
release.
You know?
Because podcasts get those.
And
yeah,
we,
you know, and it's not even, it's just it's respectful. And because people
Yes.
want to, you know, I mean, you guys, we all do, we stumble over these names all the time because we're reading them, you
Right.
know, like, for the most, you either have to like track down an interview with them in Brazil
Right.
on YouTube.
Yes.
And listen to like, how does, what's her name? Bilqui Evely. How do you and I think I screwed that up again. How do you say her name? You know, because it's
I believe it is
like
Bilkis.
it's something, and then there's accents and like how they say it, and even just give me a phonetic thing so that we can learn it because we want to learn it because they're so talented and we'd love to talk about them. So they should do that.
If you're interviewing someone in the news, they show up with your notes and the name of the person you're speaking spelled phonetically so you can say it right, you know?
Yeah.
So you don't get on there and be like, I'm sorry, what is it? Purple Nurture Church? Sorry. You know?
This is a minor story, but I can also assure you, even on the indie level, when they for wrestling, when they have the ring announcers,
Totally.
everybody gets those crib notes too.
Yes.
I can assure you of that.
Yeah, because you're bringing in Japanese guys, you're bringing in Mexican guys, you're bringing, And they, like,
and so be respectful.
yeah, you don't want to get this wrong.
It's a brand, right? Like you've got like we know Tom King because Tom King is 2 syllables,
Sure.
right? And it's easy.
Probably from
and
Michigan, you know?
People still mix up Tom King and Tom Taylor. They're both white dudes.
That's their parents' fault. That's uncreative parents. Think about that before you name your kid Tom or Matt or Joe or Brian or Jeff. You know,
Jeff.
Damon. Yeah. I'll give it. Like Damon, nice job, parents.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you would think they'd want them to have a little more, make it a name. Everybody's a name. Everyone's a potential name. And,
right.
And if we want to know how to pronounce, Chris Pacello and Salvador LaRocca, it's LaRocca, but like there's a million. Why do it wrong? Just tell us from the start.
Come on, guys.
And we'll try our best.
They do the same thing. Go ahead, Jimmy. Sorry. No.
I was just going to say, I always felt pretty confident about Bilquis Everly because Bilquis is one of the gods from American Gods.
True. True.
Right.
Oh, maybe it is. Maybe it is Bilquis.
Or maybe that's a really old pronunciation. You never know. You know,
Who knows?
I mean, like,
exactly.
Regardless.
But they going back to what you were saying about them handing those notes to announcers and stuff, like they do it on game shows too. I watch a lot of game shows.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, but Steve Harvey's not pronouncing some of these names that are on there.
No.
Like somebody's in Steve Harvey's ear saying it's it's Daquela, Steve, it's like,
All right, we'll get into it next time on Pronunciation Cast. But for now,
there you go.
We got X-Men 97, Part 3 came. I watched it this morning. I'm now making it my Saturday morning cartoon thing, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
it was so good.
It was exceptionally good.
Okay, so I'm on board.
So good.
I'm on board. They got me. They're leaning into all the dumb shit, and I'm like, all right, I'm in. You got
And you know what I love about
full spoiler alert for everybody else listening to this after the fact. If you haven't seen the episode, because I think everybody here has seen the episode. Brian,
I'm so glad I just finished it.
It's 20 minutes, guys. We could an hour long is one thing. 20 minutes we can figure out.
I think it's like 22 minutes tops.
Well, right, yeah, it's standard. It's 21 minutes and change standard broadcast TV length, but after removing commercials, but they did. Inferno, they did
Ascani's
the baby cable.
Yeah.
And like they packed in I think was it you, Brian? Maybe it was somebody online. It may have been Brian.
Those weird those mask those weird Forge issues of Uncanny.
Oh yeah,
Life Death.
They're doing Life Death.
They're doing Life Death next.
I mean, they packed about 5 years worth of Claremont and Louise Simonson story plots into 20 plus minutes.
Oh yeah, just
of a cartoon.
They looked at the old X-Men 92 and went, hold my beer. Watch this.
I thought it was hard to do the Dark Phoenix saga in 5 episodes, but they did 2 whole storylines spanning 5 years
just
in 20 minutes.
Bang! There it is. And I love that we differentiate genes. Like one is a little bustier than the other.
When she got into her dummy mom.
Yeah, once she got it, yeah. I was like, hello, boobs.
I mean, look, Jean Grey, cartoon Jean Grey, everybody on that show except for Gambit dresses kind of frumpy because it's a cartoon for children.
Yeah.
Gambit they put in the pink crop tops because they want to turn kids gay.
Made me gay. I didn't even while I was watching, oh God, am I gay? What just happened?
Hey,
it's like shit.
I mean, I think everybody was a little gay after watching that episode.
My wife was she's like, I told you not to watch this. Like, damn it.
If they had if that show had aired, if episode 3 of X-Men had aired when I was 12 or 14, however old I was when the show was on, that would have probably awakened some things in me.
Let me tell you something. That show, I mean, I think it's clear at this point that
don't feed the propaganda.
They're not making it explicitly this is all the R-rated stuff.
But I mean, Goblin Queen was fucking sexy, man.
Well, dude, when she stepped off the throne, I was like, holy moly!
But they didn't have her in the Mark Silvestri onesie.
It was a little bit tamer. It was a little bit tamer. Yeah,
it was tamer than that.
A little bit.
But then, the body horror stuff was really well done. I thought.
Yeah.
The Thing tribute, the Ring, and it's just like,
Yeah.
it was great.
well, the
Slime monster.
Gambit and Rogue and Magneto like oozing into each other.
Yeah.
Oh
Like,
yeah, man.
Like, yeah, no, it was my daughter's on the floor, like, watching an iPad or something, and I'm like, she looks up, she's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Well, I hope this doesn't keep you up, because this is creepy." And she was
Gambit
fine.
can't
It was
unsee
like,
that.
yeah, no one can. No one can unsee them oozing together. I was like, ooh.
Yeah. But I also liked how they kind of merged Bishop's story with Baby Cable's story.
Well, it only makes sense, right? It only makes sense, and that's one of those things.
We don't got time. We don't got time to wait for
Ascani.
Apocalypse to show up.
We don't need Ascani's whatever.
It was
BS
Chekhov's time travel wristband.
Yeah,
there you go.
Exactly.
yes.
And you know what?
We didn't need that
And
shit in the '90s when they did it. There was already too much, Like, no.
Yeah,
just have another character
I
be
think-
there, right?
So this is my theory, and it's a conspiracy theory on par with Mapom, and so forgive
I
me.
am not
but-
the only person that ever has a conspiracy theory. All right.
Yes, but you're the only
I'm
one
sure
that's
you are.
convinced that their conspiracy theories
That is
are
also not
always
true. I do them for comedic
Yeah.
fun, usually.
Gotcha, sure. But Bishop was introduced in 1991, right? 1991
I believe
was
so.
the year X-Men #1 came out on Canny 281.
Check that.
And Cable's parentage wasn't revealed until a few years later.
Sure.
And so my thought was that Executioner's song started in Uncanny X-Men 294. So it was at least a year Gambit had been around. So my theory is that they introduced this time travel plot with Gambit, and then in between, like after Gambit was introduced, they're like, "Ooh, we forgot we already had a time traveler, and we gotta button up the origin of this other time traveler because we've got too many time travel mysteries." So my guess is that my theory is that they did not have Cable's parentage figured out when
Oh no, definitely not. I totally agree. That's not even. I don't think that's even conspiratorial. I think they were just like, they're like, you know what we should do now? Like, oh, what's that? I'll tell you who Cable's parents are. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, what about Bishop? And they went, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. You know what it is? It's like the Luke Skywalker thing, right? In Star Wars, that epidemic right now where they have to be tied back to like the Skywalker saga. It's like exactly that. It's
like the whole universe is related to the Skywalkers.
Poor Bishop's mystery didn't get resolved until like 1996.
Oh, the traitor thing?
The ex-traitor, yeah. At which point, like, Claremont had already left, and so they had to make it up, Whatever Claremont had in mind, I'm sure it wasn't Professor X turning into a psychic monster.
That's also true. But also, I mean, Onslaught, Jesus. But no, but I was talking about, like, even with Claremont, speaking of tying it back in, he didn't even like the Goblin Queen stuff that kind of got apparently thrown at him, like, by editorial.
Oh, really?
His intention was to have Jean die.
Yeah.
But they were like, no, hold on a second.
I've heard the story
we
too.
Can bring her back.
Because like Inferno was going to be a slightly different thing, and Marvel was like, whoa. This should touch everything. This should be huger, bigger, and like touch everything. And he was like,
we need to have Daredevil fight a vacuum.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, there you go. Elevator eating people. Yeah, that type of stuff.
I did love the elevator.
I mean, also at the time, the X-Men were selling and everything else was below X-Men sales. So, I mean, of course, Marvel made sense to get your Amazing Spider-Man, Inferno tie-in, and your Captain America Inferno tie-in and whatnot. So,
we have been joined by John Bunger and Trevor. Welcome, gents, to the Gang Hang. It's a little bit more cozy this week. We're talking about X-Men 97, in case you were wondering.
Joe, speaking of elevators that eat people, there's an elevator in downtown Omaha that I was pretty certain would do that.
Oh yeah,
would just open up and just like
where? What building?
It's the parking garage next to the Woodman. It leads down.
Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, dude. Yes.
Yeah, it's the one that leads down to the food court and the Brandeis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
I've taken that elevator many times, and it's a thrill ride.
happens when you walk up to it, and then it just kind of goes where it wants to.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it was built 100 years ago, so it's neat that it's still functioning. But
there are other elevators downtown where the door opens before the elevator has stopped moving. Like it's still got like 3 or 4 inches to go before it like levels out.
Okay, let's go back. Next time on Elevator Cast, we'll get to that.
There you go.
So are we doing Life Death next? Is that where we're going?
Yeah.
I mean,
Life Death, they're doing Life Death Part 1, and then, well, actually, no, I think the next episode is about Mojo World.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yes.
Or maybe they'll just combine both.
That's
Who
what
knows?
the thing was a foreshadowing.
That's what I read anyway.
Yeah.
But they're doing, I do know that they're doing a Life Death Part 1, and then there will be some episodes in between, and then they'll do Life Death Part 2.
Look, there's no reason why they couldn't crush Life Death into the Mojo World bullshit. I mean, sure, why not? You could have Baby Forge and Baby Storm go through it.
I don't.
The Life Death is. I just read that recently. It's a
sexy
beautiful
Baby
comic.
Storm.
A beautiful comic that has the wraiths from Rom in it for some reason.
The Dire Wraiths, yeah.
What a waste! It's for. I don't think people remember. It's in the middle of this beautiful Barry Windsor Smith comic about like the purpose of existence, and then all of a sudden Rogue is just punching these brood-looking aliens for no reason, and it's like, what a waste of time that is.
Wasn't there something like that going on in a lot of Marvel comics at the time? They were giving
it was a big crossover. It was
okay.
There was
Life Death.
There was the Dire Wraiths were kind of invading, sort of like it wasn't like a full event kind of thing, but you would see them pop up here and there in a lot of books. And like specifically, like Forge's neutralizer, I think, was built to fight the Dire Wraiths because that's what Rom has. Rom has a neutralizer.
It was the Dire Wraith War issues. When the Dire Wraiths decided to take control of Earth, Rom and Starshine step up to defeat them with the help of S.H.I.E.L.D. and other superheroes.
Starshine, another space knight.
Oh, boy. It was all over. It ran through X-Men. It ran through Rom, of course. Avengers. Mighty Avengers at the time. A lot of uncanny issues. Some fantastic.
I just don't know that it was like a proper
God.
named event, right? Like it didn't have like the banner on the comics, or it's like Dire Wraith War tie-in.
It was just it was just a story arc where they were sticking them in
subplot that
books.
ran through.
Yeah. They're like, hey kids, check out Rom. Basically, is what they were doing. It seems.
Yeah, like if it had come out in the 2010s, it would have had a banner that ran across all the books for a year.
Oh,
like
for
the
sure.
Heroic Age or the Dark Age or whatever,
or Blood Hunt or whatever.
Yeah, right. Even those things that aren't like proper, like the Dark Reign was not a proper crossover, but all the books were labeled Dark Reign, right?
Right.
That sort of thing. Yeah, that's what would have happened with the Wraith War if it had been published.
But would you pay extra for gorier issues of the Wraith War, like stuff where they like took gore out of the regular issues?
Only if they're polybagged so that they look like pornography.
Yeah, right on. I want to see Rom getting ripped apart.
We see full frontal Forge. Let's do it.
Full frontal.
Hey, we almost did. Forge barely had any clothes on in Life Death.
I mean, let's be honest. He's teasing us.
He's walking around.
He wore the shortest of cutoff shorts.
Forge less clothes than Kazar in those issues.
Okay, all right. JD was actually going to say something relevant.
I was just going to ask. Speaking of Marvel, I posted this last week, and I just wanted to know your thoughts because I just had this thought because I've heard a lot of people going on about Marvel malaise and and all this, and I was thinking, because I'm digging on it, and I was looking at all the events and all the story arcs and everything going on, and I was like, I feel like the current state of Marvel is this almost revival to post Secret Wars Bronze Age.
They are
got this, I don't know, this goofy feel to it that I'm digging on, and I just feel like there's just between McKay's Avengers and Gang War and the Moon Knight stuff and the Doctor Strange and Moon Knight both like being like for service and things like that. I don't know. There's just this kind of almost goofy revival feel that I'm really digging on.
I think I don't disagree with what you're saying in the sense that maybe, and I don't know for certain, but it seems to me like maybe they really gave this X-Men Krakoan saga room to be the big sprawling thing and kind of let everybody else do their stuff in their books for a while. So we got to see Moon Knight develop. They got to develop some Blade stuff for this next big thing that's going to happen in Blade. And now that the Krakoa saga is, I'm not going to say going away, but like being sweat off like a bad fever, from what I can tell. Like we're gonna get back into.
We're gonna have a post-Krakoan hangover, though.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, even that I said last week reminds me of the Australia era, so it's almost kind of like post-Fall of the Mutants.
I mean, I suppose, but even the post-Australia area, like
Krakoa, yeah. I think that. You were saying that the post-Krakoan era is going to seem like the Outback era, and I think that's right. I saw that. Just to answer your question, JD, like I don't know if I necessarily am feeling what you're feeling about like the post-Secret Wars revival kind of thing, but I will say that I'm not really in a Marvel malaise. Like I'm enjoying a lot of the books Marvel's putting out right now. And like Blade, anything Jed McKay touches, like even Avengers, which I always wish a book would be better than it is, but Jed McKay's Avengers is not bad.
It's fine
by any means.
It's fine. I don't think it's a strong suit. It's fine.
But but even then, it's like it's. I think it's also just suffering from. It's kind of telling a quieter, self-contained story.
Yeah,
where exactly. From what I'm reading, it is a self-contained story.
Definitely.
I'm like as much as we're making fun of the Krakoa stuff and the winding down of the Krakoa stuff, I'm really loving the Iron Man book, like tying heavily into it.
Iron Man has been
like
good.
Emma Frost being a supporting character in Iron Man and Iron Man fighting Orcus. I think that's been really great. A Spectacular Spider-Man at one issue in, that book was a delight. And I think Marvel's She-Hulk, of course, sensational She-Hulk.
She-Hulk is still a lot of fun.
Like Marvel's putting out a ton of great books, and I'm excited for Blood Hunt. It's an easy like punchline because of the whole like marketing of it, the gore and the polybag. Like, it's silly.
But you know what else it is?
But,
it's not
I'm
X-Men.
Excited for a good vampires versus the Marvel universe.
I am too. It's
crossover.
Not X-Men, and I think that's kind of like here.
And I like that.
I like that it's not X-Men.
Immortal Thor. Like, there's a lot of great books.
Although it is including X-Men. I saw a preview or a solicit about the X-Men Blood Hunt.
Oh, they're there.
Crossover.
Sure.
Well, there are tie-ins, but it's not an X-Men centric event.
Yeah.
No, but they are finally going to address the Jubilee of it all and her former time as a vampire.
That was not a great time.
But you know what? I'm going with that. Like, because I don't know that they ever addressed how she stopped being a vampire.
Yeah.
Like you can presume that like she was resurrected on Krakoa.
Didn't Beast develop a serum that she had to take?
X-Men Blue Origins. I'm good with it.
Didn't they develop a serum?
If they do an X-Men Blue Origins,
and she had to take it like she was diabetic or something.
I honestly don't remember, Matt.
I think it was.
I can't remember a thing about it.
I think there was a medication she had to take like she was a diabetic or something, and it's like, oh, your vampire levels are getting a little high. We better,
She was taking Ozempic like all the hot Hollywood starlets.
Yeah, something like that.
It cured her of her vampirism.
I can't remember. But nothing makes a vampire, like you want to darken up a character, make them a vampire, but don't change their name. Keep it Jubilee. Like, oh God,
you guys. She wasn't evil. It was like she was dealing. It was like something she had to deal with.
She was evil, Joe. If you're a vampire, you're evil.
Yeah. Didn't she have
a weird all vampires are evil, and you know it.
That's true. Didn't she have a weird gimmick change before that? Anyway, yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah, it's
because she was another character altogether before
was
the vampire thing.
Yeah, she had a weird gimmick change for a minute there because she was part of the New Warriors in the Decimation.
She was.
I remember that too.
Jubilee was?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was the leader, actually. that's
Yeah, she was the
series.
leader of the
Really?
New Warriors
That's
during
the book.
Decimation.
That's the book where they were all depowered mutants using supervillain technology. Is that the book?
Chamber and all that. Yeah.
Chamber was one of them. Yeah.
It was very strange.
Forgettable. Very forgettable.
Oh God.
Oh,
It's a
that's
cool
right, because
concept.
Jubilee
I mean,
did get
on paper, it's a
depowered.
great
Jubilee was
concept.
depowered.
Yeah, she lost her powers
Yeah.
on End
Yeah.
Day, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yep, he was one of them.
Yeah.
And that book, that book had a fun idea. I didn't really dig the execution too much.
It was the wrong creative team, 100%.
Right?
Bad artist, not great writer.
Kevin Griveau or however you pronounce his name, the guy that basically like created the Underworld movies.
Oh Jesus.
Oh,
He's
those that
Costumes
dude?
were horrendous. I
Oh
remember.
man.
He's an idea man, and his passion for comics is strong, and I applaud that. But I don't think I've ever read a comic book he's written where I was like, this is great. So he had a run on Black Panther for a while, which I didn't think was that awesome.
Oh, I didn't remember that. But dear God.
Speaking of the final X thoughts, we've talked way too much X, but the Beast is back. The bouncing stars and garters defenders Beast is back.
Great.
And
No notes. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
They did
It's
it
fine.
so quick. Too.
Everything's fine. This all
We'll
went
forget
exactly
about
as planned. I'm sure this is exactly what they intended from the
Oh,
start.
you could tell. Yeah, like the best part about X-Force 50 was the editor's note in the end. They were like, "Sorry, folks, we thought we had more time here, but I guess not. We'll see you next time in the pages of X-Force."
No more
That's
evil.
great.
Beast. We're good.
Like literally, that thing I was talking about where Tom Brevoort like poked his head in everybody's office, was like, "Hey guys, I'm your new boss. You're fired. Take it easy." Not you, Ben. We'll talk later. But everybody else, clean out your stuff.
I love that. Look, everybody knows in comics, no body. Like even if there is a body, that doesn't always mean dead. But
he died pretty much off panel, right? We just saw.
Well, but he died off panel by taking a nuclear bomb to the bottom of the ocean.
I mean,
he got blown up by a nuke.
Look, we've seen X people die worse than that, man. Come on.
I'm just saying, let him be dead. I'm just
fine with it too.
Assume that the death is catching, like it sticks rather, and I'm fine with younger Beast being here. I just want them to confirm, hey, where did this Beast's memories end?
Stop. Yeah,
I would really like it. I would like for it to be before he brought back the X-Men from the past.
I want them to completely destroy the kayfabe and use the creator's name, like pre this guy, and they say it in the comic.
I want it to be pre-Bendis. Because
because
to me, that was the start of the Beast being like the ends justify the means.
Yeah,
and that's not the
Be like, thank God we had that vial of whatever before Brian Michael Bendis got a hold of it. Just name him.
They did that way back in like that Second Coming with like the Hope. There was like a Beast subplot. I think it was like a backup story where he was working with other scientists and he might have been trying to find a cure or something. Like he's been doing sketchy manga kind of stuff for like 15 years. Yeah. So let's I don't know.
Maybe since M Day then. Yeah.
Let's go back. If you want to go back before Morrison, go back before Morrison. Go as far back as you need to.
Before he turned into a cat. Yeah.
I'd be fine with that.
Cat face.
Yeah.
Actually, that was
that works for me. That
cat faced.
that totally works for me.
Yeah.
Fine
with me.
Like this Beast remembers everything up to the point where he cured the legacy virus by injecting it into his best friend, who I guess I don't know what.
He got better.
But he didn't inject it to his best friend.
The airborne legacy virus cured
Colossus
the
did it to himself.
And everybody was
Beast
fine.
wouldn't do it. Colossus did it to himself.
I know.
And then he farted, and everything that came out cured
had to turn
the
into
legacy
metal
virus.
because the triggering of his mutant power is what kickstarted the
and then
vaccine or whatever.
And then he toots, and the magic spread around the world and cured everyone.
I want it to be made perfectly clear that I'm fine with the whole Colossus sacrificing himself to trigger to be the catalyst that triggers the cure for the legacy virus. My biggest issue is every mutant on Earth with the legacy virus is instantly okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they wished it all away.
That's magic. That means that there's magic involved.
I mean, he may as well just put on ruby slippers and clicked them and said something. You know.
But yeah,
God bless him.
But yeah, if this is the Beast from back from before Morrison, then hey, I'm fine with that. If it's the Beast from the '80s, where the last thing he remembers is being in the Avengers, I'm fine with that too.
I mean, he had glasses on and he sure talked like that one, so he sounded like nerdy Sweet Beast again.
He'd be looking for Wonder Man to hang out with.
Yeah,
it'd be great.
Yeah.
So okay, Wonder Man. Tell me about Wonder Man real quick. What is his current? Because like they were like, Wonder Man, you're going to get killed, by this explosion or whatever. And I'm thinking like the Wonder Man that I remember was like,
Wonder Man would not have been killed by that explosion.
Right? Like, shouldn't he have been fine? Isn't he like nigh invulnerable or like?
He's been blown up much worse than that.
He's also a being made of pure energy. So that's not really how that works.
He reformed.
So is this just a plot thing to redeem evil Beast? Be like, no, friend, I can't let you die.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. Maybe a nuke would mess up Wonder Man pretty bad. I don't know, but
well, there wasn't a nuke either. It was something else. It was something worse.
No, it was a nuke.
Was it? I thought it was something worse.
Because they said it was nuclear. Yeah.
Oh, all right, whatever. Regardless,
Wait, Wonder Man in X-Force 50?
Yes.
Yes.
He's been in the last 3 issues.
Young Beast. When Young Beast hatched from Beast's, laboratory of horrors, he escaped Krakoa, and the only thing he knew to do was go find his best friend. And so Wonder Man's been in it since that issue. So it's only been a couple issues.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's great. And I love Wonder Man and the Beast is one of my favorite comic book friendships. But
they did make fun of Wonder Man quite a bit, too.
It really is the Booster Gold Blue Beetle of the Marvel Universe.
Kind of, yeah. I kind of agree. And so the last time Wonder Man was presumed dead was at the end of Force Works #1 in the 90s. Oh, and that was some sort of like cosmic space bomb, like a nega bomb or something like that, something very, very serious.
Why do we equate that with brute force?
Brute force, the animals in armor.
Yeah, it's the same quality level. I mean, it's the same level.
Oh, yeah, and they both have force in the name. So
the first and only, to my knowledge, comic book with a pop-up cover gimmick, like a pop-up book. That's fun.
I may have had that book actually.
But then it was after that we realized, oh shit, Wonder Man's made out of energy and he can't be destroyed. Like he can neither be created nor destroyed. So.
Wasn't Scarlet Witch had a part in that too, with helping to reform him or something like that?
Yes, because
they were in love.
He was like,
they were in love.
He was like,
he came and stole Vision's girlfriend.
They were.
And guess what? Vision cried about it. Big shock.
He was trying to like reform his body and was more or less haunting Wanda. And she thought like she was summoning him with her powers.
But it was just like energy ghost?
Kind of like an energy ghost. Like he would appear and talk to her and then he would fade away. And then she did like, she did kind of summon him a couple times. Like she brought his energy forth and he did stuff. And then eventually it was, I want to say it was, there was a storyline like within the first 10 issues of the Busiek Perez Avengers where the Legion of the Unliving, like Immortus's Legion of the Unliving came back, and it was like Swordsman and Marvel and Wonder Man. And at the end of that story, Wonder Man was restored to life. So
Wonder Man.
I thought you were going to ask about him being a pacifist.
No, not that. I mean that too, I guess. Like, that's one of those things that like
that was something Bendis did.
Okay, I kind of can't stand that shit. Like they did it in G.I. Joe too, with like the medic guy who was like, "I'm a pacifist. I will not punch that bad guy in the face, even if he's going to kill you."
Yeah. He did that with Drax too.
Yeah. Also, by the way, Doc was also a pacifist as well as Lifeline G.I. Joe. Ultimately got killed in the Hammer run, but that's a whole other story.
Well, you know what? It should. If you're that, it's one thing to be a pacifist. I am fine with pacifism. It's another thing if you're like, I'm a pacifist, with superpowers that regularly gets in fights with supervillains. Like, no, you're not a pacifist, dude.
But, I mean, look,
It's like I'm a pilot and I refuse to fly this plane. I won't do it.
If they want to explore a character taking a different path, then I'm fine with that. But Wonder Man became a pacifist so hard that he formed his own team of anti-Avengers to go forcibly shut down the Avengers.
Oh yeah,
that's not pacifism, my guy.
No, that is reverse.
You formed a rival gang to go punch your friends. That's not pacifism.
That is much violence happening right now.
Yeah.
Already off the bat.
I think they were called the Revengers.
It was something stupid like that. Yeah, it was definitely something dumb like that.
We'll preserve peace. It's like Peacemaker. We'll preserve peace by killing people.
Yeah.
Preserve peace.
Totally.
It's that sort of thing that made you go, maybe Bendis has been on these books for too long.
Well, I mean,
maybe it's time for somebody else to be on the Avengers.
Is Wonder Man anywhere else right now? Is he?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, good for him. Maybe he'll be around. Look, if they are bringing the Beast back, this is a fun little time to do another Wonder Man and the Beast miniseries and get them back together. Whatever. Right?
I would love it.
Let's do it.
I would love it.
Let's do it. Come on.
And I tell you what, I want Beast to rejoin the Avengers now that he's back to his old self.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
I'd be okay with that.
Big bouncing blue boy. Yeah, let's do it.
What else we got to talk about? We got some time, don't we?
Aaron Taylor Johnson is your new 007 from what it sounds like.
That's not for legit, is it? That's not for real.
That's being reported by a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be.
It's out.
I'm going to think of anything I'm less excited about.
Yeah, that just seems
I'm not
such a cop
I'm not
out,
a James
right?
Bond. Yeah, it is a little. I would say I'm not a James Bond head, but would that be the first American that got cast as James Bond?
I mean, yeah, technically, I suppose.
Yeah, because I was thinking about it.
Is he American?
Is Aaron Taylor Johnson American?
He's not American. He's English.
Okay.
Okay, never mind. So the lineage continues, which is fine. Yeah. They're going to go that route.
I think that this is you could say this is a possible story until Craven bombs at the box office and they move on from him. That's
I was about to mention.
Right.
There's a ticking time bomb about 7 months from now.
Yeah,
so we'll see how that goes.
I don't know who puts out the James Bond movies, but if it were Sony, just say Sony puts out James Bond. They don't, but I would say that it's an important enough decision that studio would just not release Craven. Just don't do it.
No,
just you put all your eggs in the James Bond basket. Forget about Craven.
You think you're going
to write it off as a loss?
You really
leader.
think they're going to tell Sony what to do? The people that put out Madam Web, the people that sat down and watched the completed Madam Web.
If I were Sony and if Sony put out James Bond, I would advise them not to put out Craven.
Sony don't give a shit. Sony don't give no shits. Sony's like the honey badger. Sony don't care.
Right? Yeah.
Sony, we're putting out movies, baby.
Exactly. Regardless of quality.
I'm just saying, maybe Craven will be good. I'm just saying.
No, it won't.
I'm not expecting it to be good.
No,
I'm not. Matt, I'm not expecting it to be good. I'm just saying maybe it will be good.
I mean,
that was me during the trailer until he crawled up the wall. And I was like, no.
A lion bled into his mouth or whatever the fuck, and now he's got lion
it was lion blood.
Maybe it'll be good. I don't know.
The entire Sony extended Marvel universe, the only way to get powers is to have something bleed their blood into your blood or into your mom's blood, and then she has you as a baby. But as long as blood got into blood.
Researching spiders in the Amazon.
Yeah.
Does that mean superpowers are a bloodborne pathogen?
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Apparently, in Sony.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you get touched by that's it. Everyone, you're gonna get power.
Yep. Yeah, it's like super AIDS. Hey, there we go. Okay, I was gonna mute somebody, but we got it out. Yeah, I don't have good feelings for Craven, quite honestly, and a little worried. Not worried. I don't care. Sony has given us no evidence whatsoever that they're going to put out a quality product. Period. And they don't care.
They're going to release it though. They don't care.
They're going to release it.
So
they're going to release it.
We don't care either, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Do we know when it's due to come out?
It's this summer, isn't it?
It is. I think so.
I have no idea. I haven't been paying attention.
Well, it's going to have to compete with Deadpool.
Again,
that's a smart move.
I don't think Sony. I don't think Sony cares, but Let's look real quick. Craven release date. I'm curious about this. And speaking of which, I found out something upsetting. I've been waiting to digitally watch Godzilla -1, and it is still not available. Craven was supposed to come out October 6th, 2023. I'm going to say that didn't happen.
Yeah, like we knew it got pushed back. We just don't know the new date.
August 30th is what they're going for now.
Oh, good. Happy birthday to me.
The reason we cannot watch...
movie birthday.
There you go.
Movie birthday.
There you go.
All right. The reason we cannot watch
Godzilla
Godzilla -1, it is pulled from the theaters and not allowed to stream because Legendary Pictures has a contract saying your Japanese Godzilla films will not conflict with our completely stupid piece of shit Godzilla versus King Kong movies. So,
oh god,
we have to wait months before they will digitally release it in the States. It's like,
hey Matt, did you see Monarch?
I did, and I liked Monarch. That's what kills me. They can do a good product. Monarch was fun. Monarch was really well done, really well acted. Kurt Russell and his kid acting as the same character. Oh my God. They can do that in anything they want, and I'm in. It was wonderful. But this looks so damn stupid. Just like video games.
This is nice.
I saw it last night with my son.
Oh, John, you saw it.
John?
It was as stupid as you think it is and super fun. And it was, you know what? The last movie had one of the coolest kaiju scenes I've ever seen, as stupid as it was, when they fought on the aircraft carrier.
Sure.
I mean, it was fucking beautiful.
Sure, it was gorgeous.
This didn't have anything as beautiful as that, but there was great stuff. But it was
John,
also dumb as hell. And you would hate it, Matt, but Jared and I both saw it, not together, but we talked about it and both said the same thing. It was super dumb, but we loved it.
Fair.
And our 10-year-olds, each of our 10-year-olds had the greatest time. In fact, Lincoln's right here. Lincoln, what do you think? He just walked in, he heard me talking about it. Tell the guys what you think about the movie we saw last night.
Perfection.
That's the best description ever.
Put that on your movie poster, Hollywood.
That's what it should say. 10-year-old perfection. That's what it should say.
Instead, for Friday night movie night, instead of actually watching a movie at home, we went to the actual movie theater.
All right.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's also
That's
good.
awesome.
That's awesome. For sure.
We did also get the cool AMC Godzilla, Barbzilly and King Kong action figures that came on the cups.
Oh, okay.
Say Barbzilly because he's pink.
They don't have a Godzilla King Kong popcorn bucket that you can with a love opening or anything like that, or just action figures, huh?
Did you see the okay, before we move on to I have a question I've been trying to ask. John, I saw something on the poster, and I'm not sure if I'm like looking at it correctly or what, but is Godzilla wearing like a power glove?
Yes. And
not Godzilla.
It's on the poster.
I mean, King Kong. I mean, sorry.
King Kong.
If anybody doesn't want spoilers.
Oh, I'm sure.
I don't really think that there's anything.
Please, I want this to blow my hair back when I see
it's
it
on
the first time.
It's on the poster.
Yeah.
At
so
some
he's
point,
like some sort of
at some
gauntlet.
point they incorporate some technology that was going to get thrown away. And, everybody needs to get powered up.
Giant ape
20 times
technology.
stronger than they were in the previous movie.
They had some giant ape technology that was just sitting around, and they were like, I guess we're not going to do anything with this. Like, oh, wait a minute. You know what we could do? There's that giant ape. I hadn't even thought of this.
It wasn't the giant apes didn't make the power glove. The humans did.
No, I know. I'm just saying the humans that made it, like, it didn't cross their mind that maybe we could use this on King Kong.
It was like one of the only interesting things about the plot, actually.
Okay.
Not like that they use it, but the fact that they had it. It's like, oh, that's kind of.
What does the power
King Kong
glove do? Does it like fart gas like Batman's fake hand? Like, what does the gauntlet do?
Honestly, actually, at the first beginning of the movie, there's plenty of monsters on screen. That's one of the reasons it was successful in our book. But at the beginning of the movie, it was like, who's making this movie? Nickelodeon. There was so much colorful gore, like not bloody gore,
like
but
slime.
Yeah,
like ooze. Yeah, gack.
Yeah, no, it's like the humans had thought, okay, man, we need to help Kong fight these monsters that are more powerful and more powerful. So they started building this prototype mech suit. Then, humans were like, making a kaiju more powerful, dumb, so they abandon it. Of course, it's fully made and useful in the movie. So
the people that should have been talking to the investors of Jurassic Park were talking to the King Kong armor people, is what you're telling me. Okay, gotcha.
So real quick, because Brian's got some comic stuff he wants to discuss, but Frank brought it up in the chat, and I was going to say it as well. Anybody complaining that Godzilla versus Kong is just dumb fluff has forgotten 60 years of Godzilla movies that are dumb fluff.
This is a statement.
I'm sorry, Matt.
This is a statement made by someone who has not seen all these
Don't give me
Godzilla
that
movies.
shit. I know that there are
It's
plenty
absolutely-
of stupid Godzilla movies.
Do you know how
Devil's advocate, 'cause
dramatic?
I've watched them all.
Yeah, I have too. And they got so far away from that, Joe. Slow, dramatic slogs, some of them were. You have no
I get
idea
it.
what you are
I
talking
understand,
about.
but
No
that doesn't
clue.
change the fact that there are plenty of dumb ass Godzilla action movies.
I don't disagree.
remember
I want to
Godzilla
remind
dropkick?
everyone of the Godzilla sliding on his tail.
Okay,
That's
that's
what I
a
was talking about.
60s
The
Godzilla.
dropkick.
That's 60s Godzilla. And look,
That is like one
the
of the
reason-
How does that even work?
the reason those movies speak to me is because of what, like, as a kid, what they were doing with practical effects and giant monsters. It still holds up. They're still masterpieces. It's amazing.
But you understand that it's okay to say that it's dumb.
I'm
and
not saying
still
that it's
love it
not
because
dumb.
it's fun.
What I'm saying is now we've gotten so far away from anything that had like that soul and joy of the practical effects or some of the hyper dramatic 90s 2000s stuff they did in Japan with Godzilla, which I still love. And now you're left with this completely soulless video game. You know, what was it? What was the video game with the giant monsters punching each other in the 90s? I can't remember. Wild
Rampage.
No, not Rampage. Rampage was beating up the buildings. I'm talking about the fighting game.
Primal
Rage. Primal Instinct.
Primal Instinct.
Primal Rage.
Primal Instinct and Primal Rage. Yeah.
Primal Rage. Killer Instinct was a different game.
Yeah.
Primal Rage is the
Primal
one that
Rage
had
was-
like the raptor.
Now we're left
whatever.
with completely soulless CG video game where we put.
I think it was
like,
Clay Fighters, Matt. It
I
was
don't
Clay
think
There
anymore.
was
And
there
let's
was
keep in
so
mind,
much
Godzilla
stupid
Minus One
exposition in
won
this
an
movie.
Oscar. It won an Oscar. Okay. And it's not because the movie was garbage. It was wildly well reviewed, very well written, heady, a metaphor for the atomic bombs that were dropped, in
I get it.
Japan.
I get it's all full of that. But two things can be true.
I agree.
There
These
can be
movies look
masterpieces of their critically lauded cinematic masterpieces, and also dumb movies where Godzilla slides across the ground on his tail to like bicycle kick.
But that is
fucking
sick. That is
Mothra or whoever it was.
literally 50 years removed from what we're talking about now. So
I
no.
understand, but there's room for both. I think is what Frank is
I
saying,
watched.
and what I am saying.
I
is
saw
both.
there was a
We're lucky
review
that-
by the only thing I will say, I saw a review by Andre Blackner. I don't know if anybody watched his channel, but I do like his stuff sometimes. As he put it, though, he's like, "Look, the humans completely unnecessary, exposition up the wazoo, not needed."
Yes.
But he says, I can't say this is a good critical movie, but goddamn, when they started just monsters punching each other, he's like, something inside of me is just like,
It's fun.
this is it.
Good
And
action.
that's not the part I have the problem with. I'm not saying the effects look bad. I'm fine with all that. It's just where we're going with it. I don't need King Kong powered up. Quite honestly, I don't need King Kong in a Godzilla movie, period. Don't need it.
But we know that that's not
separate
the only
things.
thing that they're doing with these characters, because stuff like Godzilla Minus One exists.
But that's a completely
So,
different
you could have
licensed
multiple
thing. So
interpretations.
yeah, that's a different licensed thing. They made
I understand, but there's
two-
room in this world for both things.
Fine.
is
They
what I'm
made
saying.
2 very good King Kong movies. They made 1.5 good Godzilla movies. And now we're in Jason versus Freddy territory. Where
I
it's
don't
just
think
like,
both of those King Kong movies are good.
both are good. Both were a lot of fun. Did you watch these, or are we just speaking about these two?
I'm going to say, can I just say real quick? I'm going to say that the review, the perfection review of King Kong and Godzilla, makes me want to take my kids to see it.
Take your kids.
does.
That's what it's for. That's what it's for.
It makes me want to take. I love stupid, dumb fluff movies like this, where it's just like, give me King Kong beating somebody up. Give me Godzilla
Go for it.
breathing fire on somebody.
And it's
and
made to take your kids to.
Maybe throw in the Godzilla music. That I love that music.
It's not there. It's not good.
So before we move on,
It is in Godzilla -1, Frank.
Ooh, I'm mad about that right now because you said it's not coming back, not coming to the theaters until King Kong Godzilla streaming.
It's gonna be a while before we can
Terrible.
Little mad
So
about
I'm shutting this Godzilla talk down for now because Brian wanted to talk about something. But before we move on, Matt made a joke about a special popcorn bucket for Godzilla with a love opening, like the Dune popcorn bucket.
No,
We don't need to bring it back.
Did you guys? There isn't one for Godzilla, but did you guys see the Ghostbusters popcorn bucket? That is
cool.
that is a ghost trap.
No.
Yep, with the trap energy coming out of it and the whole popcorn.
Yeah, it looks like the energy coming out, like, that sucks the ghosts in, but that energy is plastic. And so it's a much better big bowl for popcorn than the Dune popcorn bucket, which I've heard is impossible to eat out of.
Yeah,
but it's really cool. Like it looks like a for real ghost trap. It's pretty cool. But then I saw a click
for eating.
But then I saw I think it was a Clickhole article or maybe The Onion, and it was Paramount releases new popcorn bucket for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire that urges viewers to eat popcorn out of Slimer's juicy ass. It's got a picture of Slimer with his ass sticking up and the goose is eating popcorn
Christ.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Did anyone go
Brian,
see this?
What were
later?
you?
Oh, sorry, Brian. Yeah,
let's move on from this.
Brian had a comic recommendation. Let's talk about comics.
Boy, I got to follow that. Okay. So somebody mentioned Peacemaker earlier, and I also love that Peacemaker series that Steve Pugh and Kyle Starks did.
Wonderful.
And it's terrific and in a nice hardcover. But Kyle Starks wrote a Wild Dog miniseries as part of Batman Brave and the Bold anthology.
Yeah, not a mini. It was serialized in Batman the Brave and the Bold, the current anthology.
I did not even know this.
It is the thing about those books is that they're like 80 something pages. So you got a full 22 page story in each issue. So it's basically a 3-part miniseries in Brave and the Bold with Kyle Starks and Fernando Pesaren, who is just like a brilliant storyteller. And so
I like Fernando Pesaren.
It is a goofy ass kind of security guard type dude as Wild Dog, and the things that happen, and there's like this surprisingly souped up classic DC villain that he has to face off against, and it is a blast. It's exactly what you want from that kind of comic. But it's, I think, issue 7, 8, and 9 of Brave and the Bold, so I don't think anyone's going to see it.
I didn't even know it was a thing.
It is definitely worth checking out because it is hilarious and the art is beautiful and funny and charming, and like the sight gags are great, and like it takes itself a little bit serious, which is the funny part. It's awesome. Awesome.
I wonder if they're going to collect. I wonder if they're going to collect some of the larger stories from that run into their own trades. Because that would be nice if they put out the Wild Dog thing as a trade, you know?
Yeah, I think people need to want it, you know? Like, you know.
Well, right, yeah. That's
the hard part.
That's the hard part right there. Yeah.
Like DC, there's a reason why DC put it in Brave and the Bold is because they probably didn't think that anybody would buy a Wild Dog standalone miniseries.
Well, he may not have the cachet he used to have.
I don't know. But Kyle Starks, though, I mean, he's kind of a...
He's on the edge, you know, like he's up, like for mainstream comics, like he's up and coming.
Yeah.
He's like I think Peacemaker was a huge hit for them, and one because of the TV, movie tie-in stuff, but it's a really great book. And so you see, like, it's not like there's plenty of stories that Peacemaker's in where you're like, this is a worthless comic and who cares? But like that was a really charming, well done thing. And this is another one, and it's just shorter and a little more chaotic. and a blast. And so I highly recommend it if you can track it down.
Right on.
It's available online.
Excellent suggestion from Brian.
All right, we got a couple minutes left. Question of the week. Let's hit the question of the week real quick. We were talking about, and I love, this is like one of my favorite questions we've had. Brian, you came up with this. Comic book red flags. Comics.
No, I stole it from Twitter.
That you hear people mention, like, this doesn't matter to us. I don't care. And it's X, bro. Get it right. No, but like comic book red flags, comics that people say they love that make you go, ooh, really? You know? And I can tell you,
I think it needs to go. I think it needs to go one step farther. It's if someone tells you that it's their favorite comic.
Fair enough. Then
you're like, ugh.
It's like working
because
in a comic
I can
shop.
understand somebody having a nostalgic love for Spawn because they read it when they were a kid.
Sure, but if it's still your favorite,
right?
But if it's still your favorite comic, if Crossed is your favorite comic,
yeah.
Yeah, there was a guy that teaches with my wife, and she teaches an American history class that she developed called the American Superhero, and it's about culture and comics and all that stuff,
right?
Through the 20th century, which is brilliant, and she's a brilliant educator. But there was an English teacher, a young English teacher, was in her class, and she was like, "Oh, I see you have comics. That's so cool. I've got some comics too." And she was like, "Oh, what do you read?" And he said, "Oh, I have Sandman and Spawn." And she was like, "Oh." Because that is like the Neil Gaiman set. Like, I'm sure he's familiar with Angela. You know, like
okay.
Sure. He's a big
fan
of Cagliostro.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, he's not a Spawn fan, but Neil Gaiman wrote an issue of Spawn, so he's got that. Like that is a red flag of like, all right, dude, I know what you're talking about. You're not a comic fan. You like Neil Gaiman, and that's a
I've got every
thing.
Cagliostro appearance in mint condition.
Homeless wizard hobo.
Yeah, gotta love it. But working at a comic shop back in the day, we had people.
Mine's not so much a comic.
Oh, go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say mine's not so much a comic, but if anyone says like Venom is their favorite character, I kind of look at them sideways.
Totally. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just okay, cool. Yeah.
Oh well, that's you were 11 in 1993. That's what that means.
Right. I mean, I think that the question only applies to adults, Frank. Like anybody with a childlike love of something is
free,
clear, but
yeah. But if you carried that childlike love into your life later, you know, like
anybody who says their favorite character is Willie Lumpkin or Forbush Man, the red flag for me.
See, now I know that's a guy you can loan money. That's a guy that's okay. That's a sweet nerd you're talking about, Frank.
I want to find out right?
More common than you think.
I have one as well too, because if anybody tells me that they love Joker and Harley Quinn together, that's
that's a good relationship.
Joker is a red flag for me if it's somebody's like favorite, you know.
Right. There's something I saw on Facebook, which I still don't even know how friends my age are quoting. It's like there's a whole thing called Joker quotes, and apparently it's like inspirational things with the face of the Joker behind it, which are not even said by him, and it's really bizarre.
No thanks.
I have been digging Gotham Talk on TikTok recently, though.
Gotham Talk.
Okay, I just joined TikTok, so I need suggestions. Everybody sent me cool comic suggestions to follow because maybe I'm an old man, but I'm like, all right, it's like, what are your interests? I'm like, oh, I like food and I like sports and comics, stuff like that. And they're like, all right, what about tits? And I was like, whoa, hold on.
the algorithm, TikTok, the way TikTok works is that like the algorithm changes and it takes you places it thinks you want to go, but it also shows you things that are popular. And
so, send me comics no interest stuff in to follow is what I'm saying. I need comics to follow.
Yeah.
Okay. Red flags.
The Gotham Talk is fun. No,
I'll check it out. Back in the day when Joe and I worked at the comic shop, there were certain people that came in and they literally only bought certain types of things. Like you had an X-Men guy that only bought X stuff. You had a Captain America guy that was his whole jam, nothing else. You know, and then you had other guys that came in. No judgment, and they bought Bad Girl comics. That was their jam.
Oh, yes.
Lady Death, Elvira, you know, I mean, like...
Dawn.
Chaos comics, yeah.
Specifically,
Chaos comics. Dawn, yeah.
Dawn is what I want to talk about real quick.
Oh, boy.
Because it is one thing to be like, hey, I like buxom babes with zero waist and great big butts and whatever. I'm in.
Now, are you about to body shame somebody's drawings?
I'm not going to body shame someone's drawings. What I'm going to say is Joseph Michael Linsner is a very talented artist. No question. Very talented. Those books are unreadable. Oh my God. It is the most flowery, unreadable soap opera of the gods, but no one was reading it for that. They were reading it because they like.
What if Kabuki but terrible?
Yes, but they were reading it.
What if it was David Max Kabuki but terrible?
Because they wanted to look at busty women, but they wanted to look at a certain type of busty woman with a certain type of breast shape.
I knew it. I knew this was going to go to her.
Upsetting to look at every time and be like, what are we doing, Joseph Michael Linsner? Like, God.
Women come in all shapes and sizes,
and these dudes would be like, look, and that's fine, but these dudes would be like, oh, I just think this book's amazing. It's incredible. It's just, and I'm like, sure. Like, yeah. Hey, have you ever met porn? I think you'd really like it. They're actually naked, like what is wrong? Are you too scared to just go search banana boobs on the internet or whatever, and get your thing, like it was like this
have been
desperate cry for help.
30 years I've been listening to Matt complain about this, you guys.
It was like this weird desperate cry for help.
Over 25 years.
And I'm not kink shaming. If you're into it, great.
Remember, I'm friends with Joe Linsner, right?
Fine, then let me know what happened. Did his mother do this to him? Like, what is it?
No.
It's weird,
well,
man.
I will definitely say that, yes, his stuff is very much like a soap opera of the gods, and having conversations. Having the conversations that I've listened in on with him sometimes, he's really into that very deep, I want to say Judeo-Christian mythology.
Yes, and breasts.
And well, I mean, that's his thing.
And again, this has nothing to do with him.
I'm not look a certain way.
I'm not talking about him. He is allowed to do and put out whatever he wants, and that's his style. Great. I'm talking about the guys that literally only read that and tried to tell me how high quality it is and how incredible it is, and I'd go, as I'm pointing to her boobs.
You're bringing the son and the holy banana boobs. That's what we're talking about.
Like literally.
Matt, I think you're bringing in a lot of personal baggage to this Don.
I don't have a problem with those, with breast shape like that. Fine, but that's like your only thing, bro. Like, what are you doing?
Oh my God. Go ahead, Frank.
When I was in art school, there was a guy. I was an illustration major, and we had fine art majors. And there was a fine art major who comes walking around the corner with what appeared to be a 5 foot by 5 foot canvas with a very, very, very poorly executed painting of Dawn. Look, he was copying one of Linsner's covers, and I looked at it and I'm like, oh God,
yeah,
because he fit. He fit the stereotype of what Cry for Dawn bands look like.
Yeah, sure.
Leather trench coat,
of course,
fingerless gloves.
Yep.
Gothy dude.
Yep.
Goth adjacent. Yeah.
We used to call this guy Neo the Vampire Slayer because that is exactly what he dressed like.
You know what? But I'll take Dawn in a heartbeat over something like Savage Dragon, where Eric Larson has just decided to give up or give in and turn Savage Dragon into this like tits and ass softcore pornography comic.
You know what?
Sometimes hardcore, depending.
I looked at the last issue of Savage Dragon because we get preview copies from Image. I looked at the issue of Savage Dragon that came out this week, and there's literally a character that shoots webs out of her vagina.
Okay, you know what? Look, I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to defend it, but I will give dude credit. Hey, he's not hiding it. They're nude. They're doing the stuff. It's a full-on X-rated book. Here you go, dudes. It's the other dudes that were buying this stuff and trying to tell me. It's like the people I read Playboy for the articles. Sure you do. Okay. How many times have I heard this? So this guy, right? And I'm not outing his name. I'm like, it's just not for me. I don't think it's my thing. And he's like, well, I think if you gave it a chance, we got to know. And he's like, I'm on this web board where we talk about Dawn and stuff, and Joseph Michael Linsner's on there. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll definitely check it out. And then he left, and I was like, let's check this out. Guess what? All fan drawings of her naked. All of it. That's all it was.
All right. Well,
you guys,
this episode has
you're
taken a
all
turn.
lying to each other.
I'm sorry you all had to witness Matt's social breakdown.
I'm just saying. Like,
he's got a lot of problems with the character of Dawn.
Just go read The Savage Dragon. They're naked in that issue. It'll blow your mind,
God almighty.
I just like how Matt's ranting in the background and Joe's like explaining his
Anyway, right. Yeah. Look, again, in the realm of comic shop weirdos, the guy that loves Dawn is heads and shoulders above the guy with one hand who loved underage girls naked in movies.
Oh, so, sure. Yeah.
That's a real...
But but
Thor. Okay. Comic wise, he loved Thor.
Yeah, but we're talking about diseases now. I don't want to get into diseases. We're just talking about comic book red flags. All right.
Yeah, I literally had to listen to him talk about a movie where Anna Paquin got naked.
All right.
She's like,
let's just stop.
I'm just saying, like, look, yeah, I'll talk to I'd rather talk to the guy that likes Dawn. Fair enough. There are worse things.
Fair enough. It was a red flag for me. So, all right, we are 10 minutes over.
And then the guy would sing the Thor cartoon theme song from the '60s, which was
holy shit.
That's weird.
I don't remember the Thor cartoon theme song.
Mighty thunder. Oh, mighty thunder.
I don't remember that.
When he would raise his fake hand up in the air.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah. He loved
I'll leave us on a silly note to try to save it. I watched the Roadhouse remake.
I heard it was fun.
Oh, yeah.
I heard it was actually fun.
All the cocaine.
Oh God, Conor McGregor was a goddamn violent cartoon character. That's the only way I can describe it.
Fair enough. So we were going to watch it last night, but I had to watch Creighton lose because they suck at basketball. Thanks for nothing, guys. Ruined my birthday. Cool. But
yeah,
I am gonna watch. I heard good things about it, and I was originally like the trailer was like, why are we even doing this?
People were dreading it, and then I started to hear from Roadhouse super fans, and I know at least a couple, and they were like, "This movie's good."
Yeah,
and I'm excited to watch it.
Really good in it.
Well, Gyllenhaal's been really good in a lot of a lot of bad stuff. He's always good in it. Like I like Gyllenhaal. He's solid. And I just read an article about when he lost the Batman role in Nolan's Batman, and Nolan came to him personally and was like, "Hey, man, you're not getting the role, but it's not because you're bad." He was like, "You're incredible. You are absolutely incredible. Christian Bale's just better."
I saw that interview.
It was great.
But that's that's a really great. Not every good actor is right for every part. You wouldn't want. There's a lot of people I wouldn't want being Batman. So
sure. But
Jake Gyllenhaal, I'm a fan of Jake Gyllenhaal.
But we can all agree he was a much better Prince of Persia, right? He was amazing in that role.
Hey, look, Michael Fassbender was in Assassin's Creed, so people make choices because they need to get paid. That's all I'm. Get that money. That's all I'm saying.
Give me the dagger. All right, I got to get out of here. This is a fun gang hang. I lost my voice.
Yeah.
Good time, kids. We'll see you next Saturday, and we'll be gang hanging. For now,
all right, guys.
We be hanging.
Two-Headed Nerd signing off.